had that fellowship in the United States, I had finished my psychoanalytic training. And so I was very interested, how can I somehow close the gap between the psychological and the medical silos. The psychoanalysts did not really, were not really part of the medicine, and medicine was not part of really the possibility of psychosomatic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But there were strong movements to get these parts more united. And 7 years later, something like 92, we got a special a board certification for psychosomatic medicine.
Mm.
And in some way, I think I was part of the people who prepared that.
Mm-hmm.
Within the professional field in the early 80s, that was connected with my activities at the Munich Health Park. Well, I put doctors and psychologists, as physicians and psychologists in teams together. And we realized a kind of more complex psychosomatic approach. The way how we understood cardiac diseases, the whole issue of stress influence in cardiac diseases, that were elements where Max Hallhuber played a major role. He organized conferences in Höhenried where a lot of people from worldwide came to meet to inquire what is the role of stress in cardiac heart disease, and the practical ways of looking what treatment works. Well, the Munich Health Park was the ideal place to do that kind of practical approach.
I remember that the type A personality idea was a radical idea back in whatever the late 70s, and you know how primitive things were with mind body wasn't even on the horizon yet. Psychosomatic had a negative term of it's all in your head, and it's dismissed, but mind body and things really shifted in the 80s and 90s. So, and you were right there in the forefront.
I was right there in the forefront, and this WHO fellowship connected me also with Ethelene. Ethelene was a very important place for me to see something of developments. I had been working, but I saw, oh, that is very close to what happens in Ethelene. I had very interesting personal meetings with Stan Groff. And
oh, you're saying Ethelene. Okay, I wasn't sure. Stan Groff was right in the,
Stan Groff in '85 was a resident in Ethelene.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw, we are in many, many ways doing the same things with some differences, less exclusive, because the Munich Health Park was the Ethelene for the city of Munich.
Yeah, a much bigger audience and
it was an open place. Ethelene was quite exclusive.
Yes, and expensive.
And expensive. And the very unique feature of Munich was every citizen of Munich had access. And again, I think the Munich Health Park had a pioneering role. The legal healthcare system paid.
Mm-hmm.
So the citizen of Munich, without importance if he had the money or not, the health insurance paid his participation in our cardiac rehabilitation groups.
Mm.
For me, I think this was the right place where management knowledge, medical knowledge, but also psychological knowledge, or let me call that the whole, the complex system really was understood and applied and brought in forms which were able to tackle all the political problems, all the institutional problems, all the medical problems, which that was not done before at any other place in this form. And I really thought, well, that's a kind of creative process of complex situations, which I was always looking for. And I thought, I'm well trained for this.
You're right in the right spot. Yeah.
It's
now
right spot.
You're such a busy man with all of this career development. Did you have time for personal life? And
yes, because there was that issue, I think, and you got some kind of real observation possibility. I thought holistic means that you have to be close to your emotions. So the emotional life, building a family, you know that this is not always very easy.
Mm-hmm.
My first marriage was not long. It took place in the first years where we started the Munich Health Park, but I got divorced. But I had an idea, and finally, and it's now for more than 16 years, I am the father of a very big family, which I always wanted. And we're just expecting our second grandchild, but the new family which I formed, or which I could find, was 3 kids from the first marriage of my actual woman, 2 kids of her second marriage, and she was able to keep all these children together. And there is a 6th child, which is my daughter from my first marriage. So I got finally the father of a real big family.
And now they're all grown?
That's another theme.
Uh-huh.
I think the fact that I'm still a very creative, active man depends very much that my life is full of the very personal things and all the different elements which have been part of my professional life. And I had the idea they all belong together, and it should be possible to somehow keep the entity of the person who lives all these things in a, well, very modern mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Work-life balance is not something which you can learn theoretically. You must practice it, and if you succeed to practice it, then you can teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And this became subject of other innovative things we did in the 90s at the Munich Health Park. There was a very important and I think worldwide known project, the public transportation system in Germany had a problem that in average, the driver's bus, subway, streetcar, no, how you call that system? Straßenbahn.
Yeah, streetcars, trolleys, yeah.
In average, got disabled at the age of 49.
Wow.
The fact that they were disabled did not mean that they were unable to work. They were only unable to continue their work as drivers. And as public employees, they had to work until 65. Very expensive for the local transport companies. The question was, is there a possibility to keep them away from becoming disabled as drivers? You know, I had some experience in working with pilots who always are anxious that they get laid off once they cannot go through the medical examinations for their ability as a pilot.
Yeah.
The same problem exists also in this much larger field of public transportation structures. And we developed a program for these drivers with a success rate of more than 54% per year, which did not get disabled. By working with them in groups of 16 through the whole program of the Munich Health Park, which covered the issue, how do you do stress management? How do you organize work-life balance? And I think what we succeeded to do was worldwide remarked. One of the interesting projects which developed from the discussions which I had with people from the Ministry of Health of the United States was to apply this, and the choice was the Police Department of Chicago. We prepared a project, but as this was a very political project, it was prepared under the Clinton administration. And when we wanted to start, Bush was elected with the consequence. Jesse Jackson had been part of the planification process. So it was a democratic project which did not fit under the Bush administration. I worked quite closely with people of the Brotherhood or Fraternity of the Police. The unions have been an important part in the thinking process to do projects like this in the United States. So in 2004, the initiative was tried for a second time. And as I was quite close to the democratic leadership, when the democratic president would have been elected, there was a very interesting chance to realize that project in Chicago. Again, Bush won, so the project was not realized. Mm. But you see that in some aspect, we really were able to do very creative things in the Munich Health Park. And my job was not a very, it was a very local job and a global job as well. Mm. The things we did really got observed. We had the possibility to really transport a lot of the ideas into the WHO. I think the most important contribution was that the WHO really adopted our concept of early mobilization after heart disease. Mm-hmm. That was at the end of the 80s. That became a clear point in the policy of WHO. And I think we really changed a lot in the medical approach.
When did you finish up at the health park?
I became 60 in 2000. And at that time, well, I had the possibility to opt into a kind of program to work only half-time for the last 5 years until 2005. But there was another possibility, and the city of Munich asked me to make the choice that I work full-time until 62 and a half, which was in September 2002. And I had asked that I could prepare a successor who had that kind of mix of knowledge of mm-hmm. management and clinical knowledge. You can imagine that being a progressive physician, you have a lot of people you think that's not exactly what we imagine a doctor should be. Mm. So there were people who said, well, we will take care of his successor. And my possibility to prepare a successor was not there. The result was that after my retreat, after my retirement, mm-hmm. I got 4 successors in 4 years. Mm. And then the Munich Health Park was closed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, it was closed because the management was just too difficult. Mm-hmm. And there, I think I had a capacity of bringing separated things together, which were not so common.
Yeah, real the Renaissance man again.
Yeah. Hmm. So you, in facts like this, you see something like the red line. I remember that's something which comes up as a child. The thing which I liked the most to draw drawings as a child were bridges.
Mm.
My child drawings have always been bridges. And in a certain way, that was what I did. I built bridges
Mm-hmm.
from psycho to somatic, from somatic to psycho.
Mm-hmm.
One of the management problems in the Munich Health Park was if you have 50 psychologists and 25 physicians, it's a lot of work to get them to work together.
Yeah. So then what did you do after that?
After that, I really used my training as a psychoanalyst. I had always had the possibility to keep a small private practice as a psychoanalyst, doing psychosomatic medicine and doing what I would call innovative psychosomatic medicine. The German psychoanalytical structure somehow was not very innovative. So at the end of my psychoanalytical training, I got very much involved with the self-psychology movement in the United States. And I continued my training with American psychoanalysts like Ornstein, the Ornsteins from, I think, from Cleveland, Ohio, Joe Lichtenberg from Washington, the whole self-psychology scene, which had built a bridge to a traditional meeting once a year in Dreieich in Frankfurt, near Frankfurt. And I think progressive movements are not local, they are global, globally and local.
Local.
And I really got very inspired by all these connections. For example, if you look to the development of Solitogenesis, Aaron Antonovsky had worked at the University of Beersheba, and the chief psychiatrist of Beersheba came to Germany. So we connected, and I had the possibility somehow to get the real teaching in salutogenic concepts from its origin, and had the possibility to transform it. And this, again, was not exactly what the normal psychoanalytical approach
for sure
had integrated. So the next step for me was to introduce salutogenesis into my psychoanalytical practice. And well, once you are on such a creative line, you just continue. So after the Munich Health Park, as I was well connected with the health insurance system, I got a place within the normal system, and I got the right to do a practice as an ambulatory physician in private practice, but including all the health insurance systems, which allowed me to continue my practice until my age of 68. This was the limit. Now, this limit doesn't exist anymore, but in 2008, you had to finish your work within the official system at the age of 68. So I got a successor for my practice and continued the next career, which was mainly in working with high-level executives who needed a very experienced coach who had this mix of clinical and managerial experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm doing still today.
Mm.
Very, very challenging, interesting life, which allows me not to work 8 hours a day, but to have time to go with my dog and to play golf and, well, to stay, I call that very simple, to stay alive.
Yeah.
And to continue to work for a more holistic medicine.
Hmm. Wow, what a journey. Now, I know it's gotten late there. I would love a chance to see Gita if she's still awake. Can we invite her into the picture? Say hi.
I just have to go and get her. She is probably with Finn, with our dog.
Okay.
And it will take 2 minutes to get her.
I'll pause it till you come back.
Okay.
Starting. And now we've got your other half here. I'm delighted to get to see you. It's been 3 years since our wonderful visit there. But I wanted to round out the, good. What's the dog's name?
Finn.
Finn, okay, I've forgotten.
It's a Weimaraner.
Pardon?
It's a hunting dog, a Weimaraner.
Oh, Weimaraner. Well, I've just extracted a huge amount of history from Mark, and I'd like to round it out with a little history of when did the two of you meet, and what connected you that you found each other and created such a wonderful life there.
Yeah, we love it. You know it, the place.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. That walk, I still remember every step of that walk. I looked at it on on the Google Maps the other day, and I could see where we'd been. But when did you and Mark meet, and how?
Long story.
I met him 64 on a big carnival event in the University of Arts in Berlin.
I hadn't ever gotten your history of you really.
It's a way back history. And then I met him after the death of my second husband.
So you reconnected.
This time you don't get married with another man again.
Well, Yvonne and I are going steady now. We, after 8 years, she wouldn't marry me, but she said she'd go steady with me. So I got her a ring with my initials on it and gave me this ring. So we're just after 9 years together. But yeah, it's a delight to see both of you and how.
It's a delight to have a life full of love in the last part of your life.
Yes. Truly have the big.
She's the woman I always wanted to meet. Okay. And now it's 16 years that we live together.
16 years. So it's a long time.
Yes. Well, I'm only coming up on 9.5, but you're a little older than me. So yeah, it's wonderful. We talk about geriatric romance, and We go out on our mountain bikes
I
and
wanted to visit you, but now it's not allowed.
yeah, well, I think that'll open up soon. And anyway, this is a delight to wrap up.